If you think it's impossible to punish a masochist, think again. All it really takes is some understanding and a few practical steps. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you will have my clear and effective strategy for punishing your masochist. The first step is to establish a very clear boundary, expectation, or protocol. And this is important because a punishment cannot exist unless there is an infraction. But the infraction cannot exist unless there is something to violate, right? So you as the dominant have to be very, very clear with your masochistic subtype that this is what I expect. This is my boundary in terms of behavior. This is a boundary in terms of what I expect from you as my submissive. This is a protocol I want you to adhere to. This is something that I would like you to obey, etc. You have to establish the line first, because a line cannot be crossed unless it is first drawn, right? But believe it or not a lot of dominants do this very well. And there isn't that very clear line being drawn. There isn't that very clear expectation being set. And so it's kind of nebulous and ambiguous and can cause confusion in your masochistic subtype. So it's very, very important, crucial that you make that very clear. In addition to that, you want to verify your submissive's understanding of the boundary, expectation, or protocol and their capability to adequately perform stated expectation or protocol. So understanding and capability. Understanding for obvious reasons. We want to make sure that your submissive knows exactly what is being required of them. When it comes to the capability portion, that's just mindfulness. It's like putting a submissive with severe knee problems on a hard kitchen floor to scrub the tile. That's not something that you should put onto your submissive, because they're not physically capable of doing that, right? Their knees are not good. You probably should not be requiring that of them. So you have to be mindful in what boundary, protocol, expectation that you are setting as a dominant, but you also have to make sure that your submissive understands it fully and is capable of following it. So once you've set a very clear boundary, expectation, or protocol, your submissive understands it, they have the capability of doing that, of being obedient to it. The next step here is to identify your sub's pain point. And your sub's pain point is the point of actual displeasure. It's the space between positive pain and a hard limit. So when we are talking about punishing a masochist, okay, a lot of newbie doms especially think that it's absolutely impossible because they think physical punishment. Well, my masochist likes physical sensation. They like being whipped. They liked being swatted. They like these things. So what do I do? How do I punish? You punish at the pain point. This pain point can be physical, because here's the thing about masochists. In the majority of the cases, again, we cannot say all the time for anyone, right? But for the majority of cases, masochists typically like one or two types of pain, not all types of pain. There's something that they really, really like. They really, really like thuddy sensations, but they don't like stingy sensations, or vice versa. Or there's a very, very specific tool that they like, a very specific sensation they like, that they derive great pleasure from, okay? That is not their pain point. Even for you as the dominant, if you're putting yourself in their shoes going, oh my gosh, that's painful, I wouldn't like that, that's your pain point. That's not their pain point. That's not your submissive masochist pain point. So you have to understand that, dominants. They have a pain point and you need to find it. And like I said, it could be as simple as, if they're into thuddy sensations, giving them a stingy sensation, or vice versa. But you can also do things like giving them a timeout, ignoring them for a certain amount of time, lecturing them, making them eat distasteful foods, or maybe wear a perfume or cologne that they don't like. You can remove some items from your kinky collection. You can postpone play for a period of time, etc. Do you see where I'm going with this? If your masochist likes being beat, they like impact play scenes, then perhaps the most effective pain point is to not have an impact play scene. that will adjust behavior really, really fast, okay? So the key is with a masochist, and I cannot state this, emphasize this enough, find their pain point. And dominance, their pain point oftentimes is in a realm that's non-physical. Because here's what I tell my coaching clients all the time. People do not change until their lack of change has cost them enough. So if your masochist is stepping out of line, being disobedient, being defiant, being disrespectful, you have to make it cost them enough where they won't want to do it again. See what I mean? So if your masochist really, really likes impact play scenes and they really like intense impact play, it doesn't matter how angry you get. They'll be probably more impacted emotionally by your anger than they will by what you're actually doing physically in the scene when you're trying to punish physically. But if that's what they really, really want, they want that intense impact play scene and they need that release, but they're acting out of line, they're being disobedient, they're being disrespectful, then no, they don't get that release. That's the pain point. And so you have to make sure that whatever behavior that you are addressing, you choose a punishment that will make them go, oh, this is costing me too much to continue in this behavior. And that brings us to our next and very important point here, that there is a difference between punishment and punishment. This comes up a lot in my dominant training sessions because I'm working with both femdoms and male doms with bratty subs. Not all, but a lot. Bratty subs, masochistic subs, what have you. And there's a lot of confusion in punishment and punishment, so let me break it down. They are two separate things. Punishment is any form of pain or degradation that your submissive genuinely finds distasteful, okay? Any form of physical pain, emotional pain, degradation, humiliation, whatever, any form of pain or degradation that your submissive genuinely finds distasteful. That's a punishment. A punishment, on the other hand, is any form of pain or degradation that your submissive genuinely finds pleasurable. You see the difference? Punishment, we might be role-playing around you've been a bad girl or a bad boy, but they really like it. And you know as a dominant that they're enjoying the impact play, right? They're enjoying whatever you're doing because it is a positive thing for them. It's positive pain. The key is to find where it's distasteful, where they genuinely find something distasteful, okay? That's the pain point. And that's where you punish. It's not about punishments. Don't you ever punish your masochist or your submissive for that matter by giving them the thing that they really, really like. No, you're going to get your whole dynamic twisted around. So remember, punish at the pain point and make sure it's a punishment, not a punishment. The next step here is to look for, as the dominant, to look for remorse and reconciliation. You're looking out for remorse and reconciliation because those will indicate to you a shift has happened within your submissive. They've gotten humble. They've realized what they've done and they want to make it right. Okay, that is what you are looking for. Because the two goals of punishment that you dominants need to keep in mind here, whether it's with a masochist or a bratty sub or the sweetest, cutest little pet you can think of, okay? The two main goals of punishment, okay, in any form of dynamic are to reinforce the dominance boundary and to reestablish the power exchange dynamic. So, remorse and reconciliation, when they feel remorseful, when they feel bad, when they feel contrite, when they feel repentant, when they say, I'm sorry, when you see genuine remorse, that's a good sign. The next thing is reconciliation. They will want to reconcile with you. They will want, if there's distance that's been created by their disobedience, they will want to bring that distance back together. They don't want there to be any distance. They don't want to hide. They want to reconcile with you. Okay, so those are what you're looking for, remorse and reconciliation. So look for a shift in your submissive's tone, in their words, in their micro expressions, in their body language, in everything. Watch for it. And when that happens, and this is important, dominance, when that happens, when that point of remorse happens in the heart of your submissive and they finally see, oh, I was out of line, whatever, and you're getting through on that genuine pain point, okay, that at that moment, that's where you can start softening, and that's where you can start going, I still care about you, and giving them a little bit of reassurance, right? But not before that point. Wait until there is genuine remorse. They feel genuinely contrite. They feel genuinely sorry. And then that's when you can start reconciling back together. And that's when you can say, come here, it's okay. I still love you. I still care about you. We had to address it. We addressed it. Now it's done. We will move forward, right? So that is when you start, after the remorse, is when you start the reconciliation process. And this might take a little bit of transition time for both you and your submissive. And that's totally fine. It's totally normal. If you as a dominant, your emotions got heightened in that process and you feel like you need some space to process some anger or to process some hurt or confusion or whatever, that's totally fine. Take the time to transition, whether it's transition back into a normal kind of vanilla space, transition back into a scene, transition into whatever space that you need. Back together though. We want this transition to be back together. We're transitioning from this place of disconnection back together. It could be a scene right now. It could be hugs and kisses right now. It could be talking right now, whatever. But we're reconciling and we're allowing ourselves both time to transition back. So if you enjoyed today's video, be good little boys and girls for Goddess and hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below with any questions that you would like me to answer in an upcoming video.